Hi there, I'm Vincent Boss and I provide dating and self-improvement advice. And in today's podcast, we're going to be discussing Dumper Breakup Warning. I provide audio and email coaching to help people try and get their ex back or get a new girlfriend or boyfriend. Check out my website for more details, www.dateme.tips. Please check your spam and junk folders if you are expecting an email from me. So now let's get back into today's podcast, and today we are discussing Dumper Breakup Warning. The Dumper Siren is a warning for dumpees who think certain things. If a dumpee ignores the siren, a dumper is likely to react themselves in a negative way. The best advice for dumpees is that if you hear the siren in your mind, don't do what you're thinking. Here are 3 thoughts which will raise the alarm. Number 1, I'm going to remind my ex how great we were together. One of the worst things a dumpee can do is to convince themselves that their ex, the dumper, can't remember how their relationship was. It's a common thought that a dumpee will be thinking that, wow, we had such a great relationship, and if I could only remind my ex of how great a relationship it was, then everything can be sorted out. What the dumpee must instead really start to understand is that their ex, the dumper, does remember everything about the relationship, the good and the bad. It doesn't mean that all of the relationship was negative. In fact, the vast majority of a relationship could have been as rosy as the dumpee likes to think. However, the dumpee must respect the fact that the dumper ended the relationship, and the very virtue of the dumper ending a relationship is that they have lost romantic emotional attraction for the dumpee. So if the dumpee is thinking to themselves, look, all I've got to do is remind my ex of how great we were together, and then believe that they will get back together on that basis, that premise, unfortunately, the dumpee is likely to have a very negative reaction from the dumper. Probably at best, they will just be ignored, and at worst, the dumper will relay all of the reasons as for why they've ended the relationship. A dumpee must accept the breakup and understand that the dumper hasn't forgot the relationship. They haven't forgot the good times, but unfortunately for the dumpee, they have also not forgot the problems that they saw within the relationship. If a dumpee is thinking this type of thing, then the likelihood is they haven't understood why the breakup took place, and they can't envision, they can't imagine, they can't understand from their ex's perspective. If you have been dumped, the first thing you need to do is to accept the breakup and understand that the dumper has lost romantic emotional attraction for you, and for you to have any chance of trying to get your ex back, you need to be growing that level of romantic emotional attraction, and not by trying to patronize your ex by getting in contact and saying, look, can't you remember how great we were together? That is not going to help matters, because it is basically saying to your ex, the dumper, I'm not really understanding what you're saying. I think you're silly. I think you've got a bad memory. I think you're not somebody who knows your own thoughts. I don't respect your thinking. And ultimately, my way is the only way that matters. And I don't really care about your feelings. So if you are a dumpee, you will be hearing the siren in your mind if you are thinking to yourself, look, I just need to remind my ex how great we were together. If you're thinking those thoughts, the siren will start to ring loud and clear in your mind and should be a big reminder to you. Please do not proceed with contacting your ex and saying, look, let's get back together. Let's sort this out. We were brilliant together. We were amazing. We were the perfect couple. Don't do this. It is not likely to work. Point number 2. I'm going to contact my ex because they are sending me coded messages via their social media posts. This is another common thought that dumpees have where they are looking at their ex's social media. I always suggest that you never check your ex's social media usage. You don't check their posts. You don't check whether they have viewed your stories. You don't check any of their social media behavior. Because if you do, if you are checking your ex's social media activity, you are likely to become confused and often quite hurt. There is never a good outcome of checking your ex's social media, and at best you will have a confusion set of new questions that are going through your mind, and at worst you will probably see something which will create a new wave of heartbreak. Now, even with all this advice that I give, I still hear dumpees constantly saying to me things such as, look, I've checked my ex's social media and they've posted something which links back to our relationship somehow really far back into the past. And I think they're trying to send me some type of code by what they've typed or what they've posted. And I'm thinking that because of this, I now need to contact them and basically say, let's get back together. Let's talk. I saw your post. I understand what you're saying. And these type of illusions that a dumpy creates in their mind is the very reason I suggest you do not check your ex's social media. At the end of the day, if a dumper wants to reconcile with a dumpy, they can just contact them. They don't need to do coded messages. You need to be thinking as a dumpy, if a dumper really wants to get back into a relationship with you or even wants to talk with you again, why would they risk posting a coded message that there's no guarantee the dumpy will either see or understand? Why wouldn't the dumper just contact the dumpy and say, would you like to chat? That is the vastly more likely outcome that will happen if a dumper wants to speak with a dumpy. They will just contact their ex and they will say, look, would you like to have a conversation? Do you want to chat? And then say their thoughts. They are very unlikely to post crypted messages within social media posts. And this is not some type of sign or clue for the dumpy to reach out to their dumper. I am a big believer that if you have been dumped and you want to try to get your ex back, you should never contact your ex unless they contact you first. And that is direct contact. That is not some subliminal message within a post on social media that is for everybody, not just directed at you, and is certainly not clear. If you are thinking to yourself that your ex is posting some type of secret message within social media, then the siren will be ringing loud and clear in your mind, and it will be telling you, do not proceed with what you are thinking. Do not contact your ex and say to them that you understand the coded message they are saying, because they are likely to either ignore you or respond by thinking you are going crazy. Point number 3, and the final thought in today's podcast that a dumpy might have, which will cause the siren to be going off in their mind, is I'm going to beg my ex to take me back. I didn't do anything unreasonable, but will still plead with them to change their mind. This is a very common thought that a dumpy will have after a breakup, particularly when they are a stage 1 dumpy, when this is a fresh breakup. The dumpy is likely to think that I really want to beg for forgiveness, even though there doesn't seem to be anything that I've actively done wrong. I just want to say I'm really sorry and plead for the relationship to continue. This is very unlikely to work. And even if it did temporarily work, it will be because your ex has taken you back through pity, and therefore the relationship will likely end very suddenly soon after. The reason why you shouldn't be begging your ex to take you back is for a couple of main points. Firstly, your ex has lost romantic emotional attraction for you. They are seeing you as a lower value individual. If you therefore beg and plead, you are looking even lower value. You are not increasing your value. Instead, you are actually lowering your value even further. And for two people to have a relationship that is successful, the scales need to be relatively even. If you are such low value compared to your ex, they are very unlikely to want to reconcile with you in a relationship. The second main reason as for why begging and pleading is not going to help is that if you think of a situation that your ex has ended the relationship, you don't think you've done anything wrong. You don't think you have caused a big problem. You don't think you have done an action to actually cause this breakup, but you're still thinking, I'm going to beg and plead. Therefore, your ex has ended the relationship due to something completely different. They've ended the relationship due to the polarity between you both not being sufficient. If you don't have the right polarity between you, there is not going to be that romantic feeling. And therefore, this is not something that you have done, but instead, it is probably because your ex has grown to a point where they no longer see you as somebody level with them, going back to that kind of connection regarding value. So if you don't think you have done anything wrong, if you don't think you have created a problem via your actions, then you need to understand your ex just doesn't see you romantically anymore because they are not feeling the sufficient polarity between you both. Therefore, begging and pleading is not going to help because you've got nothing to say sorry for. The problem is that your ex just doesn't have enough romantic emotional attraction for you anymore. And begging and pleading is not the solution. You need to be working on yourself, going through self-improvement, using my version of a no contact rule, and moving forward with your life. That is actually the best opportunity you have of growing the level of romantic emotional attraction and not depleting it further. If you have any thoughts of begging and pleading your ex to take you back, then this should be a moment where the siren is ringing so loud in your head that you have to take notice and don't proceed with what you was going to do. If you believe that this podcast has helped you, then please consider buying me a coffee. The link to do so is in the description.
Yeah, if you miss your ex, we can help with that. Help you get him back, or we can help find you someone else. Yeah, Vincent Bo, the relationship coach, giving you some insight, bringing you a new approach. DateMe.tips, go and check the site, giving you advice, helping with your love life. Get your ex back, or move to the next. Ain't no sweat, you know Vincent Bo got you. Finding love ain't no problem. Yeah, DateMe.tips, check it out now.